you think Sir Bob should just wash his hands of the whole affair? You think it's a complete waste of time? Is that what you're saying? That you should just leave them to it? Just leave them to it, let them sink ever more into debt, ever more into hunger. You just think that should just carry on?
Do you know what I think he's saying? I think, now, I'm not words in your mouth, are you saying they blew the last lot we gave them, they've got to learn a lesson? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that.
Is that what you're thinking?
No.
What are you thinking?
I'm not thinking anything like that. All I was thinking is about this gig, it might have been better to do it, like, rather than, I don't know, ruining a grass field in Edinburgh and that. Do it out in Africa, right? Get people out there, get the tourists up. Do you know what I mean? Get a load of people out there. They've got loads
I don't reckon he's gonna get people to walk to Edinburgh. I very much doubt people are gonna fly to Addis Ababa to see Coldplay.
Cheap flights and what have you.
Right.
Hot dog stands and that, locals will love that, right? Job done.
Brilliant. Let's put him in charge.
Yeah, just for one day.
Let's put him in charge of Live Aid. If Bob Geldof is listening, I know, you respect him because he used to work on XFM.
No, but
Bob, if you're listening, please, I would love, oh my god, a conversation, Bob Geldof talking to, forget Kate Bush, forget
That would be amazing.
Can Bob please call in and speak to Carl? No one call except Bob, so we know it's Bob calling. Right, get on the phone.
What's the phone number? What's the phone number?
Can't we talk to him next week?
He might be busy next week.
No,
he's got stuff to organise.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You can talk to us next week. Alright, I'm not gonna I'll go through the phones, it's mental.
Play a record.
Alright, what we're having? Bit of Killers?
Yeah. The Killers, somebody told me on XFM 104.9. Tell you what, talking of, starving, I went to what is meant to be the best restaurant in the world on,
oh yeah?
Wednesday, yeah.
Sure. You must be famished.
Well, Jonathan, Ross, booked a table there. It came out, I think he's been trying to get there for a while, and, I think there's a waiting list and everything, right? And,
well, he's got OBE, you're walking straight in.
He's walked straight in with that, yeah. Me and Jane went along with him and Jane to the Fat Duck in Bray. So it was voted the best restaurant in the world, okay?
Right.
And, it was incredible. I mean, it's across from the restaurant and sort of Barnum. They, you know, just incredible food. But all the way there, I'm thinking, well, I can't eat stuff in normal restaurants. I don't eat red meat. I'm squeamish about things like seafood, anything that's got too many legs, or was a crustacean once, or feeds on worms. I knew that one of their, signature dishes was snail porridge. So I'm thinking, I'm not gonna be able to eat anything here, so I was thinking, I had something to eat before I went. And, I was thinking, they better not have mucked around the bread, right? Got there, beautiful, it was really quite fantastic. And I let them know straight away, that I was a Philistine, and they really accommodated me, you know, I didn't have the snail porridge, they put, mushrooms in my snail porridge, which is more of a risotto, and there's tasting menus and that, and it was, really fantastic. But, Jonathan, halfway through, on the way there, I don't like travel well, on the way there, he actually phoned me and said, why are we taking you to this restaurant?
Good point, very good point.
They know, even if I go around there, they cook me sausage and mash.
Yeah.
Or, do you know what I mean?
Well, you have the palate of one of those kids from the Jamie Oliver school dinners program. They've got the lovely Jamie Oliver cooked, you know, kind of, ratatouille, but they're going for the sort of chicken Twizzlers.
Well, there's no chicken. I love chicken. I like the chicken I can eat. I'm squeamish about red meats. There's nothing you know, it's a mixture of, it's not morals. There's only one thing I don't eat morally, and that's veal. But the other thing else is just like, if it's got eyes and legs and things sticking out of it, or there's
But it hasn't got eyes and legs things sticking out of it. What are you talking about? I mean, it just infuriates me. I actually got to a point now where I refuse to eat out with Ricky. Because I can't, it just sucks the life out of me. It actually makes me depressed. I can't enjoy the experience. If you go to an awards do, they bring out lovely food, you know, 3 courses, and you're whinging. You're always whinging.
Which is hardly cooked, followed by lamb.
Lovely bit of lamb. Who doesn't think lamb is the best of all the meats?
Oh.
And you whinge, you complain, you look at Jane like a little boy who's like, oh no, why have you brought me here? You are just, and I tell you, and I put it in I don't wanna, badmouth people, but I suspect it's your family, I suspect it was your upbringing, I imagine that if I came to your house, late 60s, early 70s, came round to your place in Reading, it would have just been the smell of chip fat. Just everywhere, pervading, just one of those chip fat fries that's just, yeah, like you say, constantly, 24 hours a day,
I used to eat
just bubbling away.
I used to eat beef and pork and that, and I used to have to, eventually, when I was getting sort of squeamish and getting older, I'd make her burn it so much that it was just like chewing on a piece of leather anyway, where I couldn't stand the sight of blood or something.
A salad in your house would have been a pickled onion and a packet of crisps.
No, a salad in my house, right, was when it was summer, we were out in the garden, lovely salad, grated cheese, grated egg, 2 bits of beetroot with your leaf, a pickled onion, and a packet of crisps. And that was a salad. But
yeah. Now, is that? Do you agree that is probably the reason why you've got this palate? And I don't even. It's not even a palate. That's too nice a word to use for it.
I've got more squeamish as I've got older. Because I say I used to eat beef and pork.
What do you mean squeamish? I don't understand what you mean. Squeamish.
I suddenly think about it. I can eat like, you know, like it has to be blasted. It has to be unrecognisably an animal. You know what I mean? I mustn't see a bit of pink or a bit of fat.
So if we were in biblical times, and you're there, and Jesus Christ has just fed 40,000 with some fishes and some loaves, you'd be going, I'm not into the fish, JC.
I say take the head off, really cook it, take the skin off, I can see a bit of spine.
And unless that bread is mighty white, I'm not interested.
Yeah, but the thing is, what he hasn't said is, well, he gets frustrated because we have to go from restaurant to restaurant for something I can eat. But the reason we've only got about 3 restaurants to choose from are that, because he doesn't want to spend more than a £5 at lunchtime. At
lunchtime? If I was going out of an evening, he'd spend a decent amount of wallop. But lunchtime, you'd be happy to spend 20 quid on lunch. Imagine that every single day. There's no one out there who's eating lunch 20 quid a day on lunch. It's crazy. You don't need that much food at lunchtime, because I know what happens. You go in there, you have some kind of, you know, Thai green curry for lunch, you're asleep by 1:30, we're trying to work, we're trying to write TV shows, and you're dozing off like one of those giant anacondas that's just eating a sheep, and it's slowly digesting it. It takes like 3 weeks.
He doesn't eat, Carl, he does not like the he'll walk a mile out of his way to get a sandwich.
Having an argument over that 50p that time. I don't want to bring that back up again.
Here's the situation, Carl. I lent you 50p, and you decided you weren't going to pay me back. It should be to my discretion if I say, don't worry about it, Carl. You should offer me the 50p, go, there's that 50p I owe you, and I'll go, don't worry about it, Carl. But you didn't even do that.
No, it's the way that you were, like...
I said, where's my 50p? You went, oh, you don't need that. That's not your decision to have.
I didn't say that. I said, I don't think I've got it at the moment, or whatever.
Rubbish.
And you're going through my pockets and that.
Rubbish.
50p. Ridiculous.
You've just given him a keg of beer for free, hadn't you?
Well, let's not go over it again.
I just think value for money is important. Like, now, okay, so for instance, in the morning I have to get the tube, but you can get a travel card, zones 1 and 2, right? It's about £4.70, I think. But before 9:30, it's about £6.50. Alright, and then at 9:30, when the clock, literally on the clock ticks over to 9:30, it's £4.70, right? Now, sometimes I'll get there, it'll be about 9:20. Now, you'd be saying to me, oh, just spend it, and I'm thinking, I've got 10 minutes. I'll perhaps read the paper, wait for it to click over to 9:30, and then I can get a cheaper ticket. Now, surely that makes sense. Surely that's logic. I mean, if you were in that situation, Rick, if you were there, right, and you had, let's say you had 3 minutes to wait, before 9:30, what would you do? Would you stand there and wait?
No, because waiting to me is worse than
It's madness. It's madness.
I can't stand queuing, I can't stand, no, I'd pay, yeah.
How long would it have to be before you'd wait? If there was like a minute on the clock to go, would you wait?
If they literally said, if you wait 30 seconds, I go, alright.
Well, that is the case. That literally is the case.
Okay, but not 10 minutes now.
What about you, Carl?
I feel if it was 30 seconds, I'd feel flash going, I'd spend £3. But if it was like a couple of minutes, I'd go, oh, it doesn't matter. I just wouldn't.
Madness.
Yeah.
Think about how that tots up over the years.
Amazing.
Carl, what about you, Carl? Would you do it?
It depends, doesn't it, what your job is and that. If you're a doctor, you've got to get to, you know, go and save someone or whatever, you can't say, oh, just 10 minutes. Depends. Depends on the situation, depends. Most of the time I've got to get in work early, I can't be hanging around till half 9.
But you don't know, do you? I've called him when I was filming, he was I've seen him do one day, right? I've seen him for one whole day, he went away, he fell asleep at 7:45 in the bath because he was knackered, so, you know, he has 5 weeks holiday a year, he's taking the piss.